Before we go any further, let me ask you something important. Are you subscribed to this channel? Thousands of seniors miss critical updates every month because they're not subscribed. Information that could save them thousands of dollars. Don't let that be you. Hit that subscribe button right now. I release urgent information weekly, and if you're not subscribed, you won't see it until it's too late. Do it now before we continue. I've spent 18 years as an attorney helping seniors protect their homes. But what I'm witnessing right now in 2025 heading into 2026 keeps me awake at night, because it's not just one danger anymore. It's 4 separate legal traps that can rip your home away from you, and all 4 are getting more aggressive at the same time. Today I'm going to break down each threat. I'm going to show you real stories of people who lost everything. I'm going to explain exactly what's changing in 2026 and why you should care. And most importantly, I'm going to give you clear steps to defend yourself against every single threat. Here's what makes me absolutely furious. Every one of these threats can be stopped. There are programs, legal shields, and exemptions that could protect your home, but nobody is telling you about them. The government offices that should inform you stay silent. The banks that could warn you make money when you lose. The investors who buy foreclosed homes at auction count on you staying in the dark. So let me be the voice that finally tells you the truth. Because you have every right to know, and you have every right to keep the home you spent your life working for. Let's dive into the first threat. This one is actively taking homes from seniors today in all 50 states. Threat number 1, property tax seizure. You own your house outright. The mortgage is paid off. You think you're finally secure, but every single January 1st, your county government automatically places a claim on your property for that year's taxes. Doesn't matter if you've owned it for 40 years. Doesn't matter if you never missed a payment before. Fall behind once, and that claim is locked in place. Here's the part they hide from you. That property tax claim comes before everything else. Before any mortgage you might still have, before home equity loans, before every other debt in your name. So if you can't pay your property taxes, the county can seize your house and auction it off. And you lose all your equity, not just what you owe in taxes. Let me tell you about Thomas. He's 73 years old and lives in Charlotte, North Carolina. His parents purchased their small brick house in 1964, paid it off completely. Thomas lived there his entire adult life. 8 years ago, the furnace died in January. Replacing it was going to cost $6,500. Thomas faced an impossible decision: fix the furnace so his wife wouldn't freeze, or pay that year's $5,800 property tax bill. He chose the furnace because he figured he could pay double the next year to catch up. He never did catch up. The tax debt multiplied, penalties stacked on top, interest charges added by the county, legal fees from the collection process. By the time the county moved to foreclose, Thomas owed nearly $28,000. They sold his house at a tax auction. An investment company purchased it for $58,000, just barely enough to cover what he owed with all the penalties. But that house was worth $185,000 on the open market. Thomas lost $127,000 in family equity. The investment company resold it 9 months later and walked away with a $73,000 profit. Thomas and his wife now rent a small duplex across town. They lost their family home, their financial security, their future, everything, all because of a $5,800 tax bill that snowballed out of control. And here's what makes this even more frightening. Some states allow this to happen incredibly fast. In Texas, if you miss your property tax deadline in January 2024, the county can legally start foreclosure proceedings by January 2025, just 12 months later. Once your account goes to their legal department around July, you get 20 days to come up with the full amount, or your home goes on the auction block. 20 days to find thousands of dollars or lose your house forever. Now you might be thinking this doesn't affect you. You pay your property taxes on time every year, you're current. But here's the 2026 problem you need to understand. Property tax bills are climbing everywhere across America. Home value assessments are being pushed higher by counties. Insurance premiums are exploding through the roof. And seniors living on fixed Social Security checks are being crushed in the middle. In one North Carolina county, a homeowner testified his property tax jumped 51% between 2019 and 2024. Another woman said her elderly aunt's taxes increased 92% over 6 years. Starting in 2026, multiple states are changing their property tax systems entirely. Some changes help seniors, others make everything worse. Florida residents will vote on several property tax measures in the 2026 elections. One proposal would eliminate all property taxes, except school taxes, for everyone over 65. That could save some Florida seniors $3,000 to $5,000 every year. Texas just passed legislation increasing the senior homestead exemption from $150,000 to $200,000 in assessed property value. That change will completely eliminate property taxes for roughly 90% of Texas seniors. But other states are moving in the opposite direction. New York City just restarted their tax lien sale program after pausing during the pandemic. Beginning in 2025, they're selling off the debts of homeowners who fall behind to private collection firms. And here's who suffers most. 47% of properties on New York's tax lien sale list belong to regular homeowners, not big landlords or corporate investors, just ordinary people living in their own homes who got behind on payments. A huge portion are seniors. Many owe water bills, not even property taxes. A water main breaks on their street. The bill hits $8,900. They can't afford it. The city sells the debt to a collection agency. That agency forecloses on the house. They're homeless. That's threat number one. And it's accelerating hard in 2026. Now let me explain threat number two. This one only impacts wealthy seniors. But if you have substantial assets, this could drain hundreds of thousands or even millions from your family. Threat number two, the 2026 estate tax cliff. Quick pause here. What state are you watching from? Drop your state name in the comments right now. Laws are different in every state, and I need to know where my viewers live. Your comment also pushes this video to more people through the algorithm. Comment your state below this second. Right now in 2025, you can leave up to $13.61 million to your children and grandchildren completely tax-free. If you're married, you and your spouse together can pass $27.22 million without any federal estate tax. But on January 1st, 2026, that protection gets slashed in half. It drops to approximately $7 million per person, $14 million for married couples. Why is this happening? Because the 2017 tax law that doubled the exemption is expiring. The higher exemption was always temporary, and unless Congress votes to extend it, which looks extremely unlikely, it automatically reverts to the previous lower amount. Which means if your total estate exceeds $7 million, the federal government will take 40% of every dollar above that threshold when you pass away. Let me show you what this looks like with actual numbers. Say you own a paid-off house in Seattle worth $1.8 million. You have retirement savings worth $3.7 million. You have another $2.9 million in stock portfolios and other investments. Your total estate value is $8.4 million. Under the current 2025 rules, your heirs owe absolutely nothing in federal estate tax. You're under the $13.61 million exemption. But under 2026 rules, you're $1.4 million over the new $7 million limit. The government takes 40% of that $1.4 million. That's $560,000 in estate taxes your family must pay. Your children have to produce $560,000 in cash within 9 months of your death, or they're forced to sell assets, possibly the family home, just to pay the tax bill. And here's the devastating trap. If you don't take action before December 31st, 2025, you permanently lose the ability to use the higher exemption through strategic gifting. Wealthy seniors all across the country are rushing right now to transfer large gifts to their adult children before the end of 2025. That locks in the use of the $13.61 million exemption permanently. But if you wait until January 2026, that door slams shut forever. So threat number two is a financial time bomb ticking down to January 1st, 2026. And it hits any estate valued above $7 million. But most seniors aren't wealthy. Most seniors face threat number three. This one is absolutely brutal, and it's perfectly legal under federal law. Threat number three, Medicaid estate seizure. Here's how this works. You're 79 years old. You need full-time nursing home care because you can't live independently anymore. Nursing homes charge $9,000 to $13,000 every single month. You don't have that kind of money, so you apply for Medicaid to cover the nursing home costs. Medicaid approves your application, you think you're saved, they pay for your care month after month, but here's the brutal truth they never explain up front. When you die, Medicaid comes after your estate to take back every penny they spent on you. It's called the Medicaid Estate Recovery Program. All 50 states operate one. Federal law requires it, and your house is the first asset they target for recovery. Let me tell you about Barbara. She was 81 years old and lived in Indianapolis, Indiana. She developed severe Alzheimer's disease. Her son couldn't possibly care for her at home anymore with his job. Barbara moved into a nursing home. Medicaid covered $1,100 per month for her care. Barbara lived in that facility for 3.5 years before passing away. Total cost to Medicaid was $470,400. When Barbara died, she still owned her little ranch house, paid off decades ago, worth $235,000. Her son assumed he would inherit it like she'd always promised, but the state of Indiana filed a recovery claim against Barbara's estate for the full $470,400. They placed a lien on the house immediately. The son had no choice but to sell his mother's house to partially satisfy the Medicaid debt. The state took every dollar of the $235,000 sale proceeds. The son received nothing. Zero. His inheritance was completely wiped out. And here's the cruelest part of this system. Barbara only qualified for Medicaid in the first place because she had almost no money. The house was considered exempt while she was alive under Medicaid rules. She was allowed to own it and still receive benefits. But the instant she died, it stopped being exempt. It became a target for state recovery. So Barbara spent her final years believing her son would at least have the family home after she was gone. Instead, the government took it all. Now, there are legal strategies to shield your home from Medicaid estate recovery: irrevocable asset protection trusts, transferring ownership to your children at least 5 years before you need nursing home care, life estate deeds that transfer ownership while letting you live there. But the overwhelming majority of seniors have no idea these tools exist. They think Medicaid is simply government help. They don't understand it's actually a loan that gets repaid from your estate after you're gone. And beginning in 2026, several states are becoming far more aggressive about estate recovery. They're hiring private debt collection companies to go after estates. They're pursuing adult children who receive property transfers during the 5-year look-back window. That's threat number 3, and it's silently taking homes from grieving families every single week. Now let me warn you about threat number 4. This one is especially cruel because it's sold to seniors as a helpful solution. It's marketed as a way to help you, but it's financially destroying people instead. Real quick, if you're getting real value from this information, hit the like button right now. Videos with strong like ratios get pushed by the algorithm to more people. That means more seniors see this critical information before it's too late. Takes you 2 seconds. Like the video now. Threat number 4, reverse mortgage collapse and foreclosure. You've probably seen the TV commercials. A friendly celebrity telling you that a reverse mortgage lets you tap into your home equity with no monthly mortgage payments required. You get to stay in your home, receive cash, never make another payment. Sounds perfect, right? Here's what those commercials never mention. You still must pay property taxes and homeowners insurance every single year. And if you fall behind on those bills, the reverse mortgage company will foreclose on your house. Back in 2010, the Department of Housing and Urban Development discovered that reverse mortgage companies were holding nearly 13,000 loans in default. Why were they in default? Because borrowers couldn't afford to pay their property taxes or insurance. The mortgage companies had advanced over $38 million to pay taxes and insurance on behalf of struggling borrowers. Then those companies foreclosed on the homes to get their money back. Think about how twisted that is. You take out a reverse mortgage because you're desperate for cash. You think it solves your financial problems, but you're still responsible for property taxes and insurance. And if you can't afford those ongoing costs, which many seniors on fixed incomes cannot, the reverse mortgage lender forecloses anyway. Except now it's even worse. Because you've already spent your home equity through the reverse mortgage, you have no savings cushion left. So when the foreclosure hammer falls, you have absolutely nothing. Let me tell you about Nancy. She's 74 years old and lives in Jacksonville, Florida. She took out a reverse mortgage 6 years ago, received a lump sum payment of $135,000. She used it to pay off credit card debt from medical bills. She helped her granddaughter with a down payment on a car. She took a trip to visit her sister in Arizona. But her annual property taxes jumped from $2,100 to $4,600 over those 6 years. Her homeowner's insurance more than tripled because Florida insurance companies keep leaving the state. Between property taxes and insurance, Nancy suddenly owed $8,300 per year. On her monthly Social Security income of $1,650, there was no possible way to afford it. She fell behind on both. The reverse mortgage servicing company paid her property taxes and insurance on her behalf. Then they added those costs to her loan balance and charged interest on top. Within just 3 years, Nancy owed more on her reverse mortgage than her house was worth. The loan was underwater. The servicing company started foreclosure proceedings. Nancy now lives in a small apartment with her daughter and son-in-law. She lost her home of 30 years, and she has zero equity remaining because the reverse mortgage had already drained it all away. That's threat number 4, and it's getting dramatically worse as property taxes and insurance costs explode in states all across the country. So let me recap all 4 threats for you. 1. Property tax seizure. Miss a single year of property taxes, and you can lose your entire house plus all your equity. 2. The 2026 estate tax cliff. Exemption cut in half on January 1st. Government takes 40% of estates over $7 million. 3. Medicaid estate seizure. Government seizes your home after your death to recover nursing home costs they paid. 4. Reverse mortgage collapse. Can't afford property taxes or insurance anymore? Foreclosure happens even with no mortgage payment. 4 separate threats. 4 different legal pathways for the government to take your home away from you. Now here's what makes my blood boil. Every single one of these threats can be prevented. There are government programs, there are tax exemptions, there are legal protective strategies, but nobody bothers to tell you they exist. Property tax seizure. Every state in America operates relief programs for seniors. Homestead exemptions that reduce your taxable value. Circuit breaker programs that cap your taxes based on income. Tax deferral programs where the state pays your taxes and puts a lien on your house so you don't lose it. But all these programs require you to apply, and most seniors never find out about them. Think of someone who needs to hear this right now. Your mother, your father, your neighbor, a friend from church, someone who could lose serious money without this information. Share this video with them immediately. Text them the link right now. Don't wait until the video ends. Pull out your phone and do it this second. In Texas, there's a program that completely freezes your property tax bill once you turn 65. But you must file paperwork to activate it. If you don't file, your taxes keep climbing every year. In Florida, there's a senior exemption that can cut your annual property tax by thousands. But again, you have to submit an application. In North Carolina, the circuit breaker program limits your property tax to a small percentage of your actual income. But it requires a new application every single year. Miss the deadline and you lose that year's benefit. The estate tax cliff. There are sophisticated gifting strategies, irrevocable life insurance trusts, charitable remainder trusts, family limited partnerships, qualified personal residence trusts. Dozens of powerful legal tools exist to reduce or completely eliminate estate taxes, but you must put them in place before December 31st, 2025 to take advantage of the current higher exemption. After January 1st, 2026, that opportunity disappears forever. Medicaid estate seizure. You can protect your home with an irrevocable Medicaid asset protection trust, a ladybird deed that transfers ownership on death, or by gifting your house to your children at least 5 years before you need nursing home care. But you must plan ahead while you're still healthy. If you wait until you're already sick and in a nursing home, it's too late. The look-back period has already started. Reverse mortgages. Never take one unless you have an absolutely rock-solid plan for paying property taxes and insurance for the next 20 years. Or explore better alternatives like a traditional home equity line of credit that you control completely. So how do you actually protect yourself from these 4 threats? Let me give you specific concrete action steps for each one. For threat number 1, property tax seizure. Step 1, call your county tax assessor's office tomorrow morning. Ask them specifically what property tax relief programs exist for seniors in your county. Apply for every single exemption you possibly qualify for. Don't leave money on the table. Step 2. If you're already behind on property taxes, take action this week. Don't sit around waiting for a foreclosure notice to arrive in the mail. Many counties will work out payment plans or hardship arrangements, but you have to call them before the legal process starts. Step 3. If you're struggling to keep up with rising property tax bills, research your state's tax deferral program immediately. The state pays your taxes directly to the county. They put a lien on your house for the amount they paid, but you don't lose your home. When you eventually sell or when you pass away, the state gets repaid from the proceeds. It's not perfect, but it's infinitely better than foreclosure. Step 4. Set up an escrow account or automatic bank payments for your property taxes. Never miss a deadline. In some states, you can lose your entire house after just 12 months of non-payment. For threat number 2, the estate tax cliff. Step 1. If your estate is valued above $7 million, schedule an appointment with an estate planning attorney before December 31, 2025. You may be able to make substantial gifts to your children right now to lock in permanent use of the current $13.61 million exemption. Step 2. Explore setting up an irrevocable trust. Once you transfer assets into the trust, they're legally removed from your taxable estate. But this is extremely complex. You absolutely need professional legal guidance. Step 3. Investigate charitable giving strategies, charitable remainder trusts, donor-advised funds, private foundations. These tools can dramatically reduce your taxable estate while supporting causes and organizations you care about. Step 4. Don't procrastinate. Once the calendar flips to January 1, 2026, the exemption drops in half. You cannot go backwards in time to use the higher exemption amount. For threat number 3, Medicaid estate seizure. Step 1. If there's any possibility you might need nursing home care someday, plan for it now while you're healthy. Transfer your home to your children at least 5 years before you think you'll apply for Medicaid. That puts it outside the 5-year look-back period. Step 2. Meet with an elder law attorney to discuss setting up an irrevocable Medicaid asset protection trust. You give up direct control of your house, but it becomes protected from Medicaid estate recovery claims. Step 3. If you're already living in a nursing home and receiving Medicaid benefits, understand that your home may be protected while you're alive, but know with certainty that the state will file a recovery claim when you die. Talk to an elder law attorney about your remaining options now. Step 4. Some states have specific exceptions to estate recovery rules. If your adult child lived in your home for 2 years before you entered a nursing home and provided your care during that time, they may be allowed to keep the house. Check your specific state's rules carefully. For threat number 4, reverse mortgage collapse. Step 1. If you're thinking about getting a reverse mortgage, run detailed numbers first. Can you realistically afford property taxes and insurance for the next 10, 15, or 20 years as they keep rising? If the answer is no, do not take a reverse mortgage. Step 2. If you already have a reverse mortgage and you're struggling to pay property taxes or insurance, contact your loan servicer this week. Some servicing companies have programs to help you avoid default, but you must ask before you fall too far behind. Step 3. If you're already behind on property taxes or insurance with a reverse mortgage, you may qualify for a loan modification or structured repayment plan. Do not ignore the warning notices from your servicer. Once they officially begin foreclosure proceedings, your options disappear. Step 4. Seriously consider selling your home and downsizing instead of taking a reverse mortgage. You'll get cash from the sale. You can move somewhere more affordable, and you won't carry the ongoing risk of property tax and insurance default leading to foreclosure. I know this is overwhelming. 4 major threats, 4 different sets of action steps, but here's my core message. The government has 4 legal pathways to seize your home, and 2026 is bringing regulatory changes that make several of these threats significantly worse. But every single threat is 100% preventable if you take action now. The 71-year-old woman in Seattle who lost her house over $7,250 in unpaid property taxes. Programs existed that could have saved her home. She didn't know they were there. The Indianapolis son who lost his mother's $235,000 house to Medicaid estate recovery. Legal trusts and strategies existed to protect that property. They didn't plan ahead in time. The Jacksonville woman who lost her home to reverse mortgage foreclosure. She should never have taken that reverse mortgage without a realistic long-term plan for taxes and insurance. These are preventable tragedies, but prevention requires you to understand your rights, to recognize the threats, and to take defensive action before the deadline passes. So here's exactly what I want you to do right now. Pick one of these 4 threats, whichever one applies most directly to your situation, and take the very first action step before the end of this week. If you own your home outright and you worry about property taxes, call your county assessor tomorrow. Ask about every senior exemption available. Do it. If your estate is worth more than $7 million, call an estate planning attorney before December 31st, 2025. Lock in use of the higher exemption while you still can. If there's any chance you'll need nursing home care in the future, talk to an elder law attorney this month about Medicaid asset protection strategies. Do it now, not after you're already sick. If you have a reverse mortgage, pull out your loan statements right now. Verify you're current on property taxes and homeowners insurance. If you're not current, call the servicer tomorrow and arrange a plan. One action step this week. That's all I'm asking from you, because the government won't warn you in advance. Banks won't help you protect yourself. Investors who profit when you lose won't tell you about exemptions and programs. You must protect yourself. Let's review what we covered today. 4 separate legal ways the government can take your home in 2026. Property tax seizure that can cost you everything over a small unpaid bill. The estate tax cliff that cuts the exemption in half and takes 40% of estates over $7 million. Medicaid estate seizure that takes your home after death to repay nursing home costs. Reverse mortgage collapse that leads to foreclosure when you can't afford taxes and insurance. These threats are real. They're happening right now to seniors all across America, but you now have information worth thousands of dollars. Use it. Here's my final message to you. You worked your entire adult life for your home. You made mortgage payments for 30 years. You maintained it, improved it, made it yours. You deserve to keep it, and you deserve a system that protects you instead of profiting from your vulnerability. If this video gave you valuable information, here's what to do next. Subscribe so you see my next update when I release it. Share this with someone in your life who needs this information. Comment below with your situation or your state. I read the comments and respond when I can. Your engagement helps the algorithm show this video to other people who desperately need it. Important disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only, not legal, financial, tax, or medical advice. Every situation is different and laws vary significantly by state. Property tax laws, estate tax regulations, Medicaid rules, and reverse mortgage requirements are complex and subject to change. Consult licensed professionals, attorneys, certified public accountants, financial advisors, or doctors before making any decisions based on this content. What works for one person may not work for another. Individual results vary based on your specific circumstances, state laws, and proper implementation of strategies.